What is up, everybody? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see your faces. Hi. How are you guys? So today, for at least a few hours, we're going to continue our playthrough of the this fantastic game, which is Celeste. I think we've actually been put back some time. So, rip. But, you know, whatevs. Whatevs. Thanks so much for joining. I'm going to go ahead and start this up. Let's see what we got. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Body don't. Actually, I'm going to take a breather first. Do 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 do. Da 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 do. Da 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 dee da do do. Okay. Okay, I don't... Oh, yeah, I do. I remember doing this. Rip. Uh-oh, missed it. Oopsie. Dang it. What's wrong with me? I'm definitely gonna move to Twitch. Nobody is at all. Nobody is interested in watching me do anything. Oh man. What's the point? What is the damn point? My audience has left me. Guess I have to just build a new audience once again. My word. No, 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 no. Da 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 da. Ba da da. Dee da da da. Ah da da. Na na. Ba da ba ba da bo. Da da da. Ba da 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 da. Damn. What's up, Jaden? I feel like that's a secret. What's up? Keep hitting to the side. What's up, Freya? How goes your day? That's good. I don't know what I'm doing that for. Man. Ah, I keep hitting it wrong. Wasn't this the one I was on yesterday? Yeah. This is the one part I've been on the whole time. You haven't played it yet? It's pretty fun. Though I was told that I probably should have, I should probably have played C-side and B-side first. Well, we're gonna see. Dang it. Oh crap, I didn't even go towards that at all. Uh-oh, I wasn't even holding on to the button. Oh. Ah, dang it. I keep forgetting to hold back onto R2. What is wrong with me? Na, 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 na. Ah. Again. Silly, silly, silly. And just keep making the same mistake over and over. Wow. What? What? Oh. What is wrong with me? I'll just restart it. Ah! Not what I meant to do. Dang it. But how am I supposed to blow it up and get back up? Yeah, that didn't work. Oh, I see. Yeah, I would go up and use the spring. Okay. What's up, Ska? What's up, Jojo? Oh. Ba 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 ba. Dang it. Just hanging out watching games. Thanks, man. Not many people really want to. Oh, I needed to go up there. I wasn't even paying attention. Oh, crap. What's up, Brandy? Oh no, I had it. I just did the wrong angle. Oh. Dang it. What did I need two of them for? Oh, okay, I see. I see what I'm supposed to be doing. What's up, Danny? Man, let me take a breather with you guys, for you guys. I don't know why you guys are here, but thank you guys. You're very sweet, Ska. I was just gonna try to save that. Jamie. Jamie, I'm gonna answer that with telling you how that most people that come into these streams these days come in after saying, it's been a long time since I've seen you. They come in, they say hi, and then they skedaddle after not being here for a long time, which is fine. But when pretty much most of the viewers of this channel do that, feels bad. Feels really bad. That's how I have to answer that. Irving, there's other things that you need to address. It's not your fault, Jamie. It's not your fault. It's really not your fault, man. It's nobody's fault but my own. My own inability to keep people entertained. Maybe it's chat dynamics. Maybe when things are not focused on enough chatting or enough about the games or whatever. There's any number of reasons, but it's generally something that is my fault because I can't keep you guys entertained. I just wanted to play a game today. And just, yeah. That's all. I just wanted to try and play a game. That's it. Whether or not people were here, I wanted to play some games. And after looking up, doing my own more research and looking at the FTC conference itself, games are probably not going to actually be able to be played on YouTube much longer. Any games. Anything that can be remotely related to kids. Because if you read that, if you watch that, pretty much it's essentially saying that anything that can, literally, the FTC is saying that that if you are playing a game that a child might watch, whether they do or don't, if they could watch it at all, like be it Mario or something, like, and if creators have actual knowledge that they have viewers under the age of 11, which pretty much every or under the age of 12 and under, if a streamer has knowledge that they have a viewer that is under the age of 13, then they are in violation of COPPA right there. And that's why it's on content creators so badly. And I do think, Scott, this is a point where YouTube has to do something drastic, because it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of people leaving YouTube. There's going to be so many people leaving YouTube because they just don't have a choice. Now, if there are other platforms that allow for, because the only other way that they can deal with it is by marking every single one of their videos as adult only, so that they have to be 18 or over just to do what they want. And like I marked this stream, for example, and now that I marked but when you mark something as 18 plus, you cannot get ad revenue from it. They will not monetize those videos. So they put creators in a corner where they have to be family friendly and get limited ads and no comments, or they have to go 100% 18 plus with their gaming and never make money off of it. So they're just going to lose everybody from this if they don't change it. Well, it's not... I'm not quite sure it's really here it's on the content creators, like heavily it is on the content creators here. Like, think about how many times you've seen in YouTube videos they're sponsored by some mobile gaming app, for example, and they're talking to kids. Think about the scandals several YouTubers have been into where they were directly gambling, trying to get kids to gamble and making their viewership think that things are okay to gamble. Like, these are things that YouTuber content creators have caused. Problems content creators caused, not YouTube. YouTube had to pay out $172 million in damages done by the content creators, because YouTube is not technically liable for their content, which is understandable because it is very open. YouTube in this sense is just a platform where anybody can post videos. They can't be liable for the videos that are posted by other people. They're just creating the platform. So their general knowledge is they don't know. Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to need to make a change here. They're going to need to make it where, like, everybody under the age of 13 can't watch literally anything on the platform except for the kids stuff. And that's the only way they can do that is by setting up where you only can watch via an account, and then you can only and then that account has to be verified over the age of 13. So the thing is that YouTube had to pay out. It was the money that was the $172 million. The FTC says that money, how that money is determined is a multiplied amount of the revenue gained by breaking the rule of COPPA. And these are by YouTube channels, not by YouTube, by the channels themselves, specific content creators who are marketing directly to children. Children. That's weird. It directly to children. And it makes sense that people do that. Customize channel layout. You can still do that. I'm unsure of what you mean, Scott. My channel is customized right now. Jamie, it's not you. Like, you guys, if you're blaming YouTube here, you're putting the blame in the wrong area. It's not YouTube's fault. If anything, the 100% of the blame needs to go on content creators who abused the system, who didn't look at the laws, who didn't do their due diligence. That is who we have to blame. We don't have YouTube to blame. YouTube is just a platform. Other platforms could be in the same situation if the platform themselves didn't think of it ahead of time. Oh, I never even knew that. I didn't know about that, Scott. But that might have been something for cleanliness of the channel, maybe. In any case, blaming YouTube in this scenario is not it. YouTube has to comply with these, and YouTube is a huge violator of them. Yes. And it's going to cause major problems to pretty much every gaming channel out there. Literally, it's going to make literally anything kid related it can be viewed. And this was said directly by the FTC. Like, I will give you guys the link to the video of it if you guys would like it, where the FTC made a conference directly commenting about content creators on YouTube. And when it comes to that conference, I understand way more based on that conference now. And yeah, they're gonna go after specific content creators. If they violate it, they're gonna do a full sweep of the platform to make sure that there are no. Now, see, that what's not covered is, are they going to go through the, now see, I'm curious, do they care if somebody marks their content as not, okay. See, he says in the Federal Trade Commission dude said that they would go through, and it didn't matter if they were on YouTube Kids or on normal YouTube. If it looked like it could be, if a kid might click on it or might join in, it is considered child. It can be considered child content. What's up there, Stevie? Small creators like you or Stuart who make nice wholesome content. Well, Jamie, yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. That's the whole thing about precedence, though, Jamie, is it's all about precedence. The COPPA rule have been in action for a long time. And now let me put it this way, though, Jamie. Let me put it this way. There have been times when we have seen people that have claimed to be under the age of 13 in streams. I'm not even going to say if they were in these streams. I'm just going to say they were in streams. So just when we have the legitimate claim says, if you have actual knowledge that there are actual view audience of people under the age, then the rule applies to you. So that means if somebody watches your content that is under the age of 13, even one kid watches your content that is under the age of 13, you are in violation, and they have the ability to comment and see your content and see other people's comments, then that is in violation of COPPA. And all of them, Jamie, that's the whole thing. That's pretty much the whole thing, Jamie, is that everybody is that's what's gonna cause YouTube so many problems. Is that he is literally gonna have to go on so many things. I see, Ska. Like, it's gonna cover, because he even mentions in the FTC conference, he mentions how, like, Martin Luther King's speech can be put on made for kids, even though it's made for a general audience, but it's only it is kid friendly. Because something is kid friendly, therefore it can be seen as made for kids. Therefore, a child can click into it. Therefore, it's in violation of the COPPA Act. The only way. What's this commissioner? His name he's not a commissioner. Let me go and grab the actual information for you. FTC.gov. Trade Commission Enforcement. Child Online Privacy Rule. Hold on. Let me see. Frequently asked questions. Alright, so where is was it in news and events? I can just go to, I'm trying to use my history to get to it, but should have bookmarked it. Oh wait, Rigo sent it to me. Let me just get the thing from Rigo. Boom, news events video, there it is. The man's name is...
In this lying with COPPA, after COPPA, determine whether Attorney General's office, and I would like to thank in particular the FTC staff attorneys, Kristen Cohen, Tiffany George, and Peter McGee, for their tireless work.
To yourselves for questions. Thank you. So the floor is open for questions.
Attorneys.
Dang it.
The FTC takes its obligation to enforce COPPA seriously.
I'm trying to see
Companies
the
violate
exact
COPPA,
name
the
of the
FTC
dude
will
for
take
you.
aggressive action, require corrective measures, and use its authority to seek substantial civil penalties. Let me close by thanking our partners at the New York State Attorney General's Office and the YouTube platform under the rule using their service.
Here you guys go.
They can't
Here's
rate
the video
videos
for you
as
guys,
kid
selves.
directed for one purpose, and then say they have no COPPA liability when they collect information from kids watching those videos.
Yeah, see right there alone.
For
What
those
you just
who
heard.
create child-directed content to upload on YouTube, the message from today's case is that the FTC considers these videos and channels to be websites or online services directed to children under the rule and thus strictly liable for compliance with COPPA. Once our order has been effected for a period of time, the Commission will conduct a sweep of the YouTube platform to determine whether child-directed content is being properly designated as such in order to ensure that the channels themselves are complying with COPPA. Finally, to the business community at large, let me be clear. The FTC takes its obligation to enforce COPPA seriously. If companies violate COPPA, the FTC will take aggressive action, require corrective measures, and use its authority to seek substantial civil penalties.
Yep.
Let me close by thanking our partners at the New York State Attorney General's Office, and I would like to thank in particular the FTC staff attorneys, Kristen Cohen, Tiffany George, and Peter McGee.
And
for their
again,
tireless
this is
work on
directly
this case.
from
Thank you, and I'd like to
FTC
turn the
website.
podium
This is
now over
directly
to
from the
Andrew Smith.
FTC themselves,
Thank you.
commenting directly on content creators on YouTube. So this directly pertains to everything
you.
we've talking about.
So the floor is open for questions. I wanted to.
So when
reiterate,
I tried to say that this wasn't as big, it was that big of a deal, I was in the wrong.
some of the
Okay,
points
so
that
I was
Chairman,
saying that people were
first,
kind of blowing
that
this out of
this is the first
proportion,
time
and I still think that they
we are
kind of
going
are,
to
because YouTube's gonna do
liable
something
under
about this,
COPPA
and if they
for
don't,
content
then I guess it's they're not blowing it out of proportion.
This is
So like,
this is
but nobody provided me this information
the
until
chairman
Rigo did.
outlined-
Nobody brought me this. I looked at the other rules, and based on the wording, I gathered something else. But when Rigo brought me this this press conference made by FTC, and it wasn't a YouTube video made by two other, a content creator who got it from another content creator who got it from another content creator who got it from another content creator, that's not evidence. And that's what everybody would try to use as evidence. Shout out to Spanish Dude for actually providing me with the thing, because I didn't know there was a conference made, and I honestly didn't check news and events when I was looking into it. I was just reading the thing, and honestly, I was reading more specifically just at the parts that were kind of related to me. I mean, not me, but related to YouTube. Like specifically content creators. And spreading the message. Well, this is something that's actually now pretty important. This is gonna affect all content creators who play games, including me. This is gonna affect my ability to play games on this platform as well. Like, it's gonna have, you guys, I won't be able to post anything. Pretty much if I want to have something, pretty much what's gonna happen is that if I want to post something, and it has a cartoon or a video game on the cover of the thumbnail, that can be considered for kids, even on the main YouTube platform. That means that anybody's video that has any game footage on their thumbnail, or a funny reaction maybe, because I have a feeling they would take that as for kids too. Things like that. You know, I think that they're going to mark it all as that. And you know, this covers way more than small content creators. This also covers PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier. They have large swaths of audiences that are literally 9 years old. Large. That includes, and that even includes our favorite, like our favored ones, MatPat. MatPat has audience members that are under the age of 11 or under the age of 13. I don't know why I keep saying 11 or 12. I keep saying 12 and 11, but not like, because that's what their phrasing is, but it's anybody under 13 is an easier way to say it. Man. So it's just a big mess. The only way I can see YouTube coming out of this without losing a majority of their content creators is to just make it where you have to have an account to watch anything that is not accessible to kids. And if you don't have an account, then you just can't watch it because that's the only way that they can keep kids from watching it without having to force every creator to make their content 18 plus to avoid getting hit by the FTC, because the FTC is coming. The FTC is going to be going for content creators. They're not going to go for YouTube. YouTube is paying $172 million already, which is the biggest amount that's ever been paid to the Federal Trade Commission on a COPPA violation by like 10 times the amount is the figure they used, which is just crazy. Yeah, it is actually going to be a huge problem, and it's going to be a problem for every single gaming content creator. Literally, games cannot be played in the public eye. So, that's going to make, and it goes for other platforms too. YouTube is just the first, essentially. YouTube is the first because they're the biggest. So that they had the most gained out of it. But if Twitch doesn't have it, wonder if Big Media is behind the move? No, not well. It's possible, but the thing is that what the Federal Trade Commission said is that that it came from a lot of complaints from concerned parents generally, or parents that had problems. And I actually believe that, because you know how many kids we have like spent hundreds of dollars in their parents' money by buying gems on a mobile app that one of their favorite content creators said was super awesome that they should go and download, or there's been kids that went and used their parents' credit card to go and do thing and gamble on that Counter-Strike Source thing. Or I have seen it in chats, children under the age of 13 saying that they want to donate and they will go take their parents' credit card to do it. And streamers have had to say, no, don't do that. That you can't do that. I mean, they'll say it in their own ways, but I've seen that happen. And in all those cases, I mean, you see like the exact reason, you see why the FTC, why this rule's in place. Petition being signed? Well, it's just it makes sense. The rules make sense, Jamie. The rules make sense. Changing COPPA's been in effect since 1998. So people have been violating COPPA for a while now. They just didn't know it. Like they've already been breaking the law. And YouTube is paying out reparations for all the content creators who have violated it. So No, Jamie. That's not the thing. Again, it's not limiting your content, it's protecting child's privacy. And it makes sense. So YouTube can still do this. See, you have an account right now. You're talking to me with the account, right? You have on your account the fact that you were over the age of 13. Written on your account as you make your account. You're set. If YouTube just made it where all videos are privatized, are cannot be watched, if it's set for not for kids, it literally is behind a login wall. You have to log in and prove that you are over the age of 13 to watch anything on YouTube that is not made directly for kids or kid friendly, where the comments aren't available and all that. And that's their solution. Now, a lot of channels are either gonna be kid friendly and deal with the consequences of not having that stuff, or they're just gonna mark their stuff not for kids but still be kid friendly. It works fine. Well, yeah, indeed. Indeed, parents need to be more mindful of their children, but yeah. Na. They should sort the kids app first. Some stuff on there is pretty sick. The kids app, that's the thing though. YouTube considers, FTC considers both YouTube and YouTube Made for Kids as the same thing. So if there's anything that is accessible on normal YouTube, that's it's considered that it could be just as accessible as anything as YouTube for Kids. So again, and like the way I see it is, if you mark all your videos as 18 plus, then you could argue that you have to have an account for kids to even view your content. It is indeed Celeste. I got talking about all of the extra stuff. So really, all content creators are gonna have to really think about this, and it's not gonna turn out very well for YouTube as a platform. Well, no need for specific examples. No. Again, no need for specific examples on that. Yeah, but Scott, that right there, that right there is not something that we can control as content creators. That's my point, though, Scott. Yeah, that's something that is literally out of our control as content creators. So as content creators and as YouTube can't even control that. If somebody lies about their age, that's really on the fault of the parents. Nobody, and in a court of law, YouTube could also argue that if they had the account system, that then anybody who lies on their account is it's their fault. That's where there is no, the thing is that YouTube right now, like this video, this right here can be watched by anybody, even if they don't have an account on YouTube. Oh, well, not this one, because I marked this one as age restricted now. This one is marked as you have to hit 18 plus. So literally on this stream. But on like any of my other streams where I don't have that, anybody on YouTube could watch it. It doesn't, you wouldn't need an account for that. And so even if the people are lying, that's no longer in the control of that's all the parents' fault by that point, and nobody else can. The only people that can take blame for it are the parents. But right now there are ways that that content creators have violated the COPPA rule. There are. I've seen it happen. I didn't know I didn't know the law myself, honestly. So when I was informed, when I saw the information by the FTC, I'm all like, well, this is true. I can't really argue that it's fact. The things they're talking about really do happen. It would be wrong for me to even assume they didn't happen. Like what he said right there is kind of what I'm seeing it from what he said at the end of that. What are you doing, man? Maximiliano, that's actually not a bad idea, honestly. That's actually not a bad idea, because that might be a huge thing right there. But more important things to deal with. What's up, Bala? How are you doing? That's the whole thing, though, is that we see that all the time. We see it all the time. If you watch that video I gave you a link to, it's 40 minutes long, but if this content matters to you, this is the most trustworthy source that you could possibly get. Literally the most trustworthy source of information on the FTC COPPA you can get. Is literally the most trusted piece. You cannot, that is where everybody is getting their information from. So like, if you watched a YouTube video that 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 watched the conference or read something, you're not getting good information. It all goes, if you follow that trail back to the source, this is the source. So this information is where everybody else got their information from. You cannot get better information than this. So look at it, and you will, and it makes sense when you listen to the things and you listen without being angry with FTC or YouTube. If you just look at it objectively, you'll be like, wow, this makes sense. This makes logical sense. I feel kind of bad that I didn't know more, because then I might have stopped. Might have tried to do something more. It was something that I didn't even know. You know, most people don't know. Your new phone just got here? Nice. It's it's surprising. It was surprising to me because I really thought that people were blowing this out of proportion based on what the YouTube video I saw, based on how I read the flippin' FTC law and the Q&A, and by those things, I gathered the wrong idea about the whole situation. And see, this is where critical thinking comes important, because where other people wouldn't claim that they were wrong and they would just try to fight this, I accept that I was indeed wrong right there. I was wrong in thinking that it wasn't gonna be a big deal, because in the end, I found a piece of information that superseded all the others that proved me wrong, to me. Because I cannot be proved wrong by somebody's opinion of opinion of opinion. And that's all it is on YouTube. I see it in Flat Earther videos as well. In Flat Earther videos, they'll always be like, this video I watched tells me that they proved it by watching this other YouTuber, and then this YouTuber proved it by saying this. So just watch their YouTube videos and that proves the Earth is flat. And that opinion of evidence of evidence don't count as evidence. It's literally the same thing in Flat Earther videos. People that just aren't doing their due diligence and research. They're not going to the source of information and deciding for themselves. They're gathering information that has been regurgitated by a whole bunch of people. It's like that, that whisper. You whisper to one person and then it goes to the next and goes to the next, and it keeps getting deformed and changed all the way around the circle until it gets back to you, and it's becoming a completely different story. With a large enough people, that story can get pretty flippin' broken. So it's like, I mean, if you're hating on the FTC right now or thinking this sucks for all it does suck for a lot of content creators, but it's something that honestly YouTube I think should have been on top of this, because I do think if YouTube was more apparent about it, and when we started hearing things about things kid friendly being gonna be dealt with, that's when YouTube should have been really open about it and should have made policy changes right then, and they need to implement the thing. They're gonna do a system right now that is not gonna work. It's not going to work, and it's going to make everybody leave. Is how YouTube is going to implement it, is that they're going to have an automated system that's going to flag a bunch of videos that people are going to argue, and those content creators are going to get fined. Once the first couple of people get fined by the FTC, every content creator is going to leave the platform, because they're not going to want to be fined, except for the people that are okay with making kid-friendly content or are okay with being on the other side of things. Then YouTube is gonna fail, and then they're gonna have to apologize and get everybody back, or try to, by making accounts, by making it where they have to do account system. And then other platforms like Twitch and Mixer, who might already have systems in place where you can't have an account unless you're over the age of 13, completely bypass the COPPA rule altogether. I haven't looked into it yet. I don't know which platforms require. Whichever platform requires you to be 13 or over to even make an account will bypass it. It might not be Twitch or Mixer. I haven't looked into their rules on those yet. Honestly, I've just been paying attention to the YouTube stuff. So maybe when it comes to those, they might be also targeted. If they don't have that, then all those other platforms are about to be targeted too. It's not, and it won't just be Google. Google's just the biggest of them. Flippin' impeachment hearing earlier today. Anybody freaking watch that? That upset the crap out of me. The freaking final statements. The final statements of Senator of Nunes. He's all like, "This is a hoax. This is a you have no evidence, no nothing, and everything is not fact. You're just, or sorry, he didn't even say that. He said you have no evidence. This is all fake for 3.5 years, essentially to that point." Followed by the chairman, who then spent the next 5 minutes explaining the whole story, citing specific as things that he called evidence. And the very first words were, "Now let's go over the evidence that we have." Right after Nunes just boldly stated there was no evidence. And then he went through the entire story, which did not look good. He even left things out that were just even worse. Huh? You're saying, Irving, are you suggesting that Vinderman or are you suggesting that the Republicans are in the right here, Irving? Is that what I'm getting at? You were not watching the C-SPAN coverage. You were if that's the case, you were clearly watching Fox News and Trump's Twitter. I was watching C-SPAN. That's bipartisan. That's literally just nothing is displayed but the information. No commentary, nobody showing things, nobody pulling away to comment on it. Is literally just the information presented. That's all I watched. I didn't watch no Fox News or CNN or anything partisan. It was literally C-SPAN, which is just the recording of it. No cuts, no jumps, no anything. What's up, Chloe? Well, they did not look bad. Vinderman did not look bad. He, if anything, came out looking way better than I even knew he could. Because it sounds like an amazing fellow. Somebody I would proudly call a brother to be an American. Irving, I would not say that I know anything. Anything on what you would like to say, Irving. I would not claim to know any of it. I know facts. That's what I know. You are not facts, Irving. Flippin' A. I went really far right there. In any case, guys, you know, the thing is that content creators content creators, my point is that content creators are under this, at the end of the director's statement, the first guy that spoke, the director of it, the statement of the director was that, at the end of it, he said that content creators cannot say that they are creating kid-friendly content and then pretend that they don't have an audience of kids. Like, that makes sense. It just makes sense. Because they do. And they're trying to. Like, if you are making kid-friendly content, you're literally trying to make it where kids under the age of 13 can join. So that generally their own kids could watch said content. So, like, these rules, like, literally make sense. They make sense, though. Like, I am on complete side with the FTC here. Like, I, as a content creator who will be drastically affected by this, I will be affected. My content on my YouTube channel will be, gaming content on this channel may not be able to happen from this, depending on how YouTube does this. I'm going to be drastically affected and possibly really negatively affected. But I still am with the FTC on this. It's not the FTC's fault. It's not generally YouTube's fault. It's not YouTube's fault, but YouTube can do stuff to make it better. YouTube has the ability to do things here that can help most creators bypass this. But it is the creator's fault. It is the creator's fault for taking on ad revenue. Not everybody, just the people who did it for precedence. Few people did it and it cost everybody the problem. And that's the thing. You know, rules are not put in place until there's precedence to, because they didn't know that they were going to happen. And this is just one of those times where there's a precedence in place. What's up, Scar? What's up, Twisted? Hey, Twisted, did you watch the conference? Because that's something I would I was wrong. I was wrong before, Twisted, in my assumption in how me and you both took the YouTube creator video and the information about blowing this stuff out of proportion with the FTC. I was in the wrong because I actually watched the FTC conference, and even other creators are wrong too, in their ways. But that's besides the point. Is that there is information there. Non-stop on that Star Wars crap. What happened? Oh, it was just that I watched the press conference, which will answer all your questions. Here, I'll DM you the link. Here you go. It's 40 minutes long, so when you have extra time, you will get full information about what's going on. With the mature audience rating in the corner of the thumbnail. You did? That was adult was labeled with the mature audience rating? Oh, nice, Paul. There you go. Hey, I wonder if that would work. Paul. That is some smart thinking. I wonder if that would work. If that would be an acceptable thing. We're not rated by the ESRB. You know? Like, we could have I was thinking about writing that, like, not for kids. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. See you later, Jamie. but that's the best you could. Well, I wonder if that would work, because I would say it does, but the thing is that kids could still have access to it, and they might, because the kids still have access, they might be like, well, it still counts, even if it is marked with an M. It's not going to necessarily stop kids from clicking in. No, 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 no. Irving, the thing is that when YouTube makes the account and or makes it account based, then it is no longer in the hands of YouTube. So yeah, the kids could still make accounts, but the thing is that that's no longer YouTube's fault. YouTube literally takes the fault of they push the fault out. It can never be their fault because somebody lied to them. They can even have a little box that says, I accept the penalties if I am lying on this form. They could say that, and then legally they could go and sue the parents at that point. And YouTube is not at fault ever by doing that. They can't be. Literally by law, they cannot be. So bad parent, like right now, there's still a point where YouTube can't do that. They can't say that because kids can freely access all the content. You have to look at it logically. I mean, it makes 100% logical sense. Handle as a creator. Yeah. No problem, Jamie. Oh, you're talking about Vibe. Well, yeah. Real problem. It's real stuff. And again, as I was saying before, content creators have been thinking that that they are somehow, again, not doing this, you know. Content creators all over think that by making kid-friendly content, they're somehow avoiding the COPPA rule. But that COPPA rule has been in effect since 1998. So they were literally violating it for years since they knew that they had kids coming in, an actual audience of kids. Once they knew they had an actual audience of kids, they had actual knowledge that children were in their streams or watching their videos, they were then in violation of the COPPA. At that point in time, they were in violation of the COPPA. And so they didn't know it, and it sucks that they didn't know it. I didn't even know it. Otherwise, I would have started telling people that they were literally violating a law. I just didn't do my due diligence in it because I'm not family friendly. You know, I don't consider kids being a majority of the people here or even necessarily watch. When I look at my statistics on my age ranges, there's nobody in that first group under the age of 18. I have like everybody 18 and plus pretty much watch my streams, and that's just how it is. I don't generally get people. We get very few kids here, and generally the kids we do get are very mature people, and also over the age of 13. And it's just like what we. I really hate. I hate that it affects YouTube. It affects content creators. It affects a lot of my friends. Like, honestly, it affects a lot of my friends on this platform. and it's going to affect them, and really it affects me, and it's gonna cause massive problems for revenue and whatnot. I think people like Kat will probably just get around it by just marking her streams as not kid friendly, and then with the 18 plus, for example, and she'd be okay with that because she's not necessarily worried about ad revenue in her live streams. She has memberships and things like that, which I don't foresee that changing with this rule, unless those memberships are made by kids, but other channels that want to be purely kid friendly, that have their own kids on their own streams, even will all have issues, because this if they have their own, I think that if they have parental permission, then they can run YouTube channels, and they can be in YouTube channels. But having those kids there will bring in more kids. Those making their rent from YouTube, this may be very worrisome. But again, it is very worrisome, and it sucks. But the problem is that this law wasn't just instituted, it wasn't just, thrown on content creators right now. It wasn't just thrown on YouTube right now. It's been in effect for 20 years. And now it's only now catching up to it. Just because it was caught now doesn't make it better for them, it's not about that, because YouTube is paying out the revenue earned, essentially the revenue earned by the content creators who have violated this act. So all the money that FTC took from YouTube is amount of money that of revenue. It was a multiplied amount of the revenue gained by the violations of the COPPA Act. And that was 172 million. They didn't say how much of a multiplier it was, but they did say that it was 10 times the amount of all COPPA Act violations put together. And that makes sense, because I'm sure one of the people that were doing this was PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. And on top of that, hundreds of thousands of smaller content creators who have all earned a combined total of maybe $30 each over the course. But hundreds of thousands of people that have all earned, $1 or $2 in ad revenue being kid friendly. That is all the same stuff. What's up, Helton? Yeah. So YouTube had to pay out 172 million in reparations, and FTC specifically mentioned that was reparations for content creators who violated COPPA, not YouTube. YouTube can't really violate COPPA, not when it comes to content creators themselves who are posting whatever content they want that is not in breaking laws. Now that they pretty much just and most people didn't know they were breaking a law, because that's something YouTube could have been more open about, but is in no way the fault of FTC. Sure, we could blame YouTube a little bit here for not being more open with the content creators about this, or not understanding it fully themselves. But I still think that if content creators, we all were more aware of this, we might have been able to do more. Maybe we could have started making our thumbnails with a little M in the side saying for mature audiences only, and maybe that would have bypassed it. It might still, Like, we could suggest that as see if FTC might be okay with that. If that would be something that would work. I don't think that would, because I think they'd still argue that if there's imagery on the thumbnail or in the title or words in the title that would attract a child, that it could attract a child, therefore it will attract a child. They don't give room for error. Not knowing law is not excusable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just because you don't know the law doesn't mean it's not against the law. Indeed, like that's what people for Trump right now seem to think. Is they seem to think because he's open about his law breaking, and because he's breaking the law right in the open, and because his attempts to break the law in other ways didn't go through, that somehow he's exempt from the consequences. Just because you attempted to break the law and you failed doesn't mean you didn't attempt to break the law. Like, that's what in the impeachment hearing, that's pretty much what they were doing. The entire Republican side, they were just complaining about how he tried but ultimately failed to break the law. You're like, oh, he didn't actually get any information. Well, that's really not the point. You know, that's and same, you know, it's really a problem with the whole. It's not just YouTube. It is all of America that needs a healthy dose of critical thinking. Right, Scott? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Freya! Thank you so much for that. Mainly with gaming, it's usually associated with kids not being able to monetize would put tons of people out. Yes, Helltong. And see, that's what I'm talking about, is that's a problem that is, if they're not... So, if they marked their... Content creators rely on their comments. You know, we as content creators... actually, hold on. First... Thank you so much, Freya. Hearts. As as content creators, we as content creators, we are what was I talking about? Are responsible. Okay, so Helltong, you're saying that AI would choose what's for kids and what for not. Well, that's the thing, though. Even this AI is not going to be our problem, Helltong. The FTC is going to do a sweep themselves, and in their eyes, anything that is on YouTube or on YouTube made for kids is going to be scanned. And if it looks like it could attract a child, in their mind, it can and will attract a child. And even if it attracts just one child under the age of 13, if it can attract just one child under the age of 13, that can be indirect violation, because that channel then could have direct knowledge that an actual child under the age of 13 is using their account, using a username that is considered personal information, directly able to contact said child. It makes logical sense. Did the FTC go after corporate ads that may appear on... Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. That's the whole thing, is that, yeah, no. The thing is that anything that is made for kids will have reduced ads. There is no... all those corporations are not allowed to have targeted ads. they're allowed to have contextual ads, is what the FTC director said. He said that the only ads that are allowed are contextual ads, and there are no comments, and he tried to comment on whether there would be likes and shares, but he didn't get an answer from one of his colleagues in that thing. Again, here's the link to the video. I strongly suggest watching the whole thing. It's the most direct piece of information you're going to get about it, because I'm not even as direct of a source as this. This source supersedes my information. So look at this information before you take my information. That's how this works. Is that I got my information from this source, and so this source will tell you everything, how I came to my conclusions. And if you think logically and rationally, you're gonna come to the same conclusions. If you have to look at, content creators are gonna be upset when they go to look at it. So they're gonna look to nitpick every little thing they can wrong with it, rather than just listen to the information and understand why it's that way. And I think every content creator should look at it, listen to it, and give its fair chance, because it just makes sense. If it is the logical way, well, I don't think it's gonna necessarily play out the way that I think YouTube is gonna make bigger changes to save its content creators, because right now, as it's being played out right now, is that a lot of, pretty much every content creator that does video games is going to lose monetization. Pretty much any content creator that uses anything related to kids. I'm thinking of so many content creators I watch that I love to watch. Even I think of their content, and there are things that are directed towards children. In fact, some content creators still will speak as if there are children that are very young in their audience that are saying, don't try this at home, or like, don't try this at home, get a parent or a guardian to help you. That to me says a child under the age of 13 for sure. And I've seen that. I saw that on just a recent video uploaded by one of my more favored channels to watch. And I don't think they realize that proves that they are in actual knowledge, that they have an actual audience that contains children. And if they have the knowledge that even one child can watch their content, and they can obtain that personal information of a username or that's all, just a username, that alone is in violation of the COPPA. Should you be nervous? Yes, Twisted. Every game content creator. Yeah, definitely watch it later. Again, the conference is directly from the director of the FTC and another person of the FTC. I don't remember what his title is. It's the director and somebody else. I don't remember the name of his title. In any case, it supersedes my information even, and it does involve pretty much anybody who plays video games on YouTube. I'm gonna need to look into Twitch and Mixer, and I'm gonna see. I'm going to see if they have their accounts set to 13 and older, because if you need to be 13 or older to even make an account on Twitch or Mixer, then that bypasses this whole COPPA Act, because then they can't gather information on anybody younger than that. So that is 100%. That would be 100% safe to stream there under the COPPA rule, and to make content. But right now, with how YouTube kind of neglected to tell its content creators this, and then how content creators have been really reluctant to let this change happen. They've been really reluctant, because I bet you it's because what happens is content creators get information from other content creators who get information from other content creators that don't have reliable information. I didn't even have reliable information, you know? I thought I did, because I had information directly from YouTube, and I had the written answers by the FTC, and I thought that was sufficient enough for me to know what was going on. And then I watched the conference by FTC where he explains it explicitly, how content creators are involved. This whole conference is about content creators on YouTube, and YouTube in relation to COPPA. So it 100% has to deal with this. His career, well, it's not about that, Paul. It's not about that. It's not about the small, it's not the you represent, oh, thank you. Okay, so Scott just sent me proof that you have to be over the age of 13 to even have an account on Twitch. GG. So that means that we'll probably switch over to Twitch when this goes into an effect for our live streamings, and then things over here on YouTube, I am going to post, I'm only going to post things that cannot be construed as kid-friendly at all. And I think YouTube will probably enact changes either then or very shortly after this goes into effect, because it's not going to work out for them how it's set up right now. And Paul, it's never about like taking out the little guy. It's never about that. We have to have these in place so that people don't violate them. And again, it was the content creators who have been violating it. So getting upset at the FTC for just enforcing a law that was in place before content creators even started making their living I can't see that being the fault of the FTC. I just cannot see that being the fault of the FTC. And I can agree that YouTube, I can totally agree that it's not necessarily YouTube's fault either, because YouTube is just an audience where anybody can create an account and post content, including children can create an account without their parent. As everybody says, kids just make an account and lie, and then post videos of themselves on their channels when they themselves are under the age of 13 on YouTube. So it makes sense. It's not about taking out the little guy. It's not about that. It sucks, indeed, but it happens as a part of what needs to happen. What it doesn't need to happen, and this is where YouTube comes in. This is where YouTube can come in. YouTube can come in here and do exactly what Scott just showed me in the Discord. You don't want to lose? No, you won't. You won't, Twisted. Oh, you won't. You could just mark your stuff. If you don't, Twisted, you could just mark your stuff as, I don't know. You might. I'm trying to think of how we can do that without. Just mark it all as 18 plus. You won't earn any money off of any videos, Twisted. Everybody will have to have an account to click into your stream, and they'll have to say that they're 18 plus. That your videos will never be monetized, but you're not worried about that. So that is a solution that should work, because you could argue in a court of law that that they needed an account to even watch your content, because they needed to be prove, or at least say that they were over the age of 18. What's up, Fulfill Your Destiny? One membership or the other per month? Dude, Scott, don't worry about that. or trade your stuff for monetization. Exactly. You could trade your content, you could trade your comments and your likes essentially to be monetized with limitedness. But I don't think very many channels are going to be able to sit in that middle margin YouTube is giving. That middle margin that I'd like to sit, where we are monetized but not for kids, is where YouTube has created itself a huge problem. It has created a very huge problem where there's a lot of people, pretty much every content creator that streams video games is in that little area. They want to have a general audience, and that includes people that are young. So once they understand the law, they might not actually they might be like, okay, well then nobody under the age of 13 then. I'm okay with that. People will be generally okay with that. Then they'll still want to be family friendly so that 13-year-olds and 13 to 18-year-olds can still have a safe space and they can still be kid friendly. But they can't do that with YouTube because YouTube is freely accessible to anybody, even if you didn't have an account. I myself watched YouTube for a long time without an account. I was on the app and I would just look at the trending and watch what was trending. What made me finally make an account was Vsauce. I started watching Vsauce a lot and I really liked Vsauce, and I wanted to see the next video. I wanted to know when Michael was about to post another video. And that's when I made a YouTube account, when I actually made an account and I actually subscribed to people. And started subscribing to people, and then people were telling me I should start using that, I should start making videos, and then I started posting videos. Avoid or push the discussion under the rug. Yeah, see, that's the thing, and that's the real problem, Fulfill, is that all the content creators are trying to push the blame. They're trying to take the blame off of themselves. They're trying to throw it at YouTube and throw it at the FTC, saying that they're in the wrong for this when they're not. YouTube and FTC are not in the wrong here. It's the content creators, and this comes from a content creator. I agree. I agree with FTC. I agree wholeheartedly with FTC and YouTube's the FTC's ruling here. It makes sense. And I've heard all the sides of the story here, every side, except from all the opinions of other content creators. I don't listen to just the opinions of popular YouTubers. I don't do that. I wouldn't do that. I can't. I'm not gonna look at Philip DeFranco and his idea on how this is playing out. I'm not going to look at H3H3 on his idea. I would not even look at MatPat's information, who I would trust that he did his due diligence. I would still look at the source of information before I ever would have to fully agree with somebody. Because the platform doesn't know how to... Well, no. Again. But how would it be our fault? Because if we have something that is accessible to children, that is freely accessible to children, and we have something that could attract a child. So if we have something that could attract a child, say Mario or a cartoon that looks funny, or a funny face done on the thing, or a game that children play, like pretty much every game out there, including the mature rated ones, then that can be seen as a kid might click into that and might leave a comment, and that comment being left is personally identifiable information, among other things. And then again, as we see there, it also comes to targeted advertisements as well. And again, as I said, YouTube is paying out $172 million in this. YouTube has to pay and that's YouTube is paying 172 million for its content creators' revenue that they earned by when they violated the COPPA Act. So again, YouTube is paying the reparations that to avoid individual content creators getting sued, because it was going to be a whole bunch of content creators getting sued. And what this does is that content creators are now see, YouTube still has more to do. Like, they're not at fault here, because they can do more. They can do more, but I'm saying that content creators could be more aware of the situation. COPPA is America. FTC. Again, FTC. Here you go. I will. It is the U.S. government. Here's a. If you see a .gov, at the end of a website, that means it is run by the government. It is the most trustworthy source of information you can get, unless it's run directly by Trump. But FTC is not run by Trump's administration, so you don't have to really worry about them. Paul, your mistrust for people with power and money is leading you all down a whole bunch of biases. You're grabbing onto these biases and holding them tight. Yeah, like you just keep on grabbing these biases and not wanting to let them go. I implore you to try to think objectively and logically here, without thinking that the man is wrong, because you're going into these situations believing that they're wrong already. Before you've even seen the information, you already have that idea that they are wrong. What they did is wrong. It doesn't matter how when you go into that, looking at that information, you only see wrongdoing. I think it's important that you try to accept this information. You know, just again, watch the conference, and then instead of looking at it with hate, treat that person that is talking as a content creator, somebody, just listen to them. You don't have to you have to believe that what they're saying is fact, because it is. Like, that's what's going to happen. That's how it's playing out, because the FTC is the direct source of information. They are the ones making the rules in the subject. And again, what he says makes sense. There are a couple of unleft questions, but when looking at it logically and objectively, it makes logical sense. And it's unfortunate for smaller people and smaller content creators, including myself. Again, it's going to negatively affect this channel that you guys are watching right now. It is going to drastically affect my own content on this. And even though it's negatively affecting me and many of my friends I still agree with FTC, and I still agree that it is up to YouTube and the content creators to make this change. And YouTube can help with this change, or they can make a huge detriment. And the way they're going right now is probably going to lead to a huge detriment, because they want to still make all of the videos free and open for anybody to watch, and then just have this automated system determine things. And then it's going to throw things in the kid-friendly section that are not kid-friendly. Those content creators are going to get fined. And once the first few get fined, everybody's going to be scared to make content on YouTube anymore, and then everybody's going to leave YouTube, leaving YouTube in a huge depression. And then it's going to give a huge rise to platforms like Twitch, who already are bypassing the laws. So what YouTube needs to do is realize that this is about to go downhill real fast for them if they don't just institute the rule that makes it where they can't where every account has to be made before watching the content. Flash timeline for what? The avocado. So it's again, it sucks. It sucks. And like when I was first looking at it, I thought it was going to be like all websites, and indeed all websites are indeed involved in this. It's not just YouTube. You know, if any website that does not have protections in place in dealing with COPPA are all going to have problems. YouTube is just the largest platform that has done it, is in violation of it by a long shot. Because again, as we were talking about before, if you mention YouTube to somebody, pretty much no matter who they are, they know what you're talking about. If you mention Twitch or Mixer or most of these other video streaming platforms, people are going to be like, what? I mean, even Facebook live streaming, people might not know that there's well, okay, they probably know that there's Facebook live streaming because so many people use Facebook. But like Twitch and Mixer, you mention those to people, and unless they have been part of the gaming world, they don't really know what you're talking about. Verify, exactly. That is literally what YouTube will have to do. Yeah, Lemons. Yeah, they will. And YouTube is definitely going to have to do something about this on a massive, massive scale, because right now they're going down a path that suggests that they're going to let their creators take most of the brunt of the fall for this, which, I mean, it is, again, the creator's fault. I've seen advertising directly to kids all the time. I really have it on lots of very popular YouTube videos, and we've heard all the problems of kids getting into their parents' stores of money, which is the parents' fault. But it wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have been at blame if we didn't push it onto the kids. You know, I didn't push it onto the kids, but you know, as content creators, I'm willing to accept part of the blame as a content creator on YouTube. You know, because I didn't know. If I had known that other content creators were in violation of the COPPA Act, I would have been, or it's just COPPA. The A at the end is Act, so I keep saying COPPA Act, which is Children's Online Privacy Protection Privacy Act. So, but you know, the COPPA document is still has always been there. It's been there since 1998. Just people didn't understand. Stealing it, generally. Stealing it. There have been plenty of times where kids have been directed to like a mobile game app or to a gambling website where content creators have had legal cases against them. Like literally, like these are legal cases that parents created against content creators. And like when we're talking about, or maybe not parents. I don't know if parents created them. I just know legal cases. Like the one dude with the CS:GO gambling, and he had that huge scandal. That's one of those COPPA things, and that's likely. That kind of stuff is likely when the FTC really started looking into how this relates to Google. But kids have been spending, that's also true. Yes. And also, yeah, when they have access to it, they end up spending way more. Indeed. I think what this wants me to do is... Oh, that's what it wants me to do. Kids have been spending way more, and they are, and you know, it is both the fault. It is the whole reason that they're going in to take out like how content creators, if YouTube does this account in place, and if we do our part as content creators to not attract those, not be kid friendly, or you know, say, or give a warning we're 13 ages and up. Like, I don't know what we as content creators can do much, honestly, if we play games. I don't know what we can do that FTC would not consider as something that could attract a child's attention. So, because we see, again, you guys will probably have to admit to yourself, even, that you've seen children in streams. You guys have seen children under the age of 11 in a stream. So, if you've seen a child under the age of 13 in any stream, doesn't matter who, if you saw somebody who claimed to be under the age of 13 in a live stream at any point in time, that stream was unintentionally violating the COPPA Act, because they had the username and in direct contact without the parent's permission with said child. So that's why it's a violation. It was created long before YouTube. It was created long before YouTube. Well before YouTube. No. Now see, there is problems at it, but see, that's where we come in. That's where YouTube comes in, and like, see, we can complain about the parents all day long, but really what needs to happen is we need to worry about what we can do, what we can change. We can't change the parents. And thinking about how the parents are at fault here doesn't change anything. What we can do is we can actually affect change. If we get YouTube to just make the account like Twitch does, then we don't have to blame the parents. We don't have to blame anybody, because the only people that can be blamed are one group, and that is the parents. If YouTube puts in the regulations to keep parents from even seeing, keep kids from even seeing content that is not directly made or accessible to kids in that way, then for sure that would solve pretty much all the problems, and no content creator who would have to really worry about that. They might see less ad revenue because they would have less actual knowledge of children under the age of 13 watching their content. To be responsible for those children. It's actually not at all, Danny. Which gets stored. Wouldn't the account? Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, Nintendo Addict. That's what YouTube needs to do. Is that YouTube needs to enact a rule that makes it where only people over the age of 13 can even watch content that is there. And if they don't, it's going to be a huge problem. It's going to be a huge problem for a lot of content creators. Anybody who does a Nintendo game. Nintendo games can have an audience of children, therefore they will have an audience of children, therefore they can be in violation of the COPPA Act. So streaming any like Nintendo game, for example, would be in violation of that. Thin ice is a concern. Yeah, it is thin ice as a concern, because like parents aren't going to change. And getting angry with the parents or getting angry with FTC and YouTube and trying to avoid these changes is just delaying what needs to happen. Is that just like, let's, instead of getting upset with FTC, let's actually just as a community talk to YouTube about just enacting an age limit. It'll suck, but at least people will be able to still monetize their videos, and then the people that are made for kids only, You know, they're gonna get, I think they'll get a boost because they'll have less ads, right? They won't have comments. They won't have comments or likes or whatnot, but they'll have less ads, but there will be less people making that content. There will be far less people making that content. It might even cease as a platform altogether. I don't think so, because a lot of people will just use YouTube to watch things, and I think there's a lot of people that will keep going, but without needing to make an account. But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to see more from YouTube, and the only way that that's going to be able to happen is if they make an account. So, and then they'll be able to see other ads that are gauged for, can be targeted audience. Between it and YouTube. See you later, Fulfill. Punishment can make, yeah, exactly, Lemons, is when you try to keep something from a kid, it just makes them want to do it more. It doesn't make them, give up and, be like, oh, okay. It just makes them want to do it more and more and more. And the more you keep it from them, the more you want to do it. It's kind of my argument for why I would indeed probably not really limit how I spoke around my kids when it came to swearing. The YouTube is most wanted thing. Kids aren't going to walk away from it. Exactly. YouTube, again, if you ask somebody again, if they what they would watch internet videos on, most of the time you're going to hear YouTube or Facebook, but generally it's going to be YouTube is what they're going to go to. And if you even ask them, well, what do you know about Twitch? They're going to be like, what do you mean? What's that? Because they just don't know. It's not that big of a platform. To us, it's a big platform because we are live stream gamers and we have a lot of connection to it. But when you look at the statistics, YouTube is stacks above Twitch in viewership, hundreds of millions compared. Twitch is a much smaller platform in terms of viewership. So when it comes down to it, YouTube is just the biggest of these all. And there's a lot of people that have unintentionally been violating it for a long time. Lots and lots. Do I have plans? Yeah, I'll probably stream on Twitch. And I still want to make videos here. Again, YouTube is the biggest platform. I'm going to make videos. They might not be child directed. And I will make my content in a way that makes it where, maybe I'll make it where they're just kid friendly and leave it without comments, and then I'll just talk to you guys separately of it. I don't like that idea. I really don't. I think I'd almost rather still do some live streams and stuff and just mark them as 18 plus. So then I don't make any ad revenue off of it, but my members make up for that. I don't make much ad revenue anyways off of them, so I mean I wouldn't be losing really anything. My members are really what do a lot, and I'm losing those as well. So thank you to my current members who are still members of this channel, especially to Awesome Jess and ACoolMG, who are both surprisingly still diamond tier members, which is just crazy. Do Lemons sometimes. Kids want to do what they've been told not to, for sure. So yeah, Twitch, Scott just pointed out to me in the agreement to watch Twitch, you have to have an account. And it says that you have to be over the age of 13 to watch. Excuse me. With that clause right there, settles the whole argument. Everything on Twitch is going to be, then you will definitely, it's definitely going It's going to push all content creators over to Twitch or Mixer. If Mixer has the same thing. YouTube is going to have to implement that too, because right now it's sounding like they're not going to, and they're going to just try to find an automatic way, because I think YouTube is going for the way that can still make them the most money, the most economical sense for them, which, I mean, I can see why they want to do that, but I think that they're just going to have to take another loss, because again, if people don't know this, YouTube is paying out $172 million to the FTC for this. So that's something that's been omitted for a lot. And they're not paying for themselves. They're paying for the revenue gained by content creators who violated the COPPA Act. Like, literally, it's not even YouTube's fault. And it was never YouTube's fault, because YouTube can't be at fault for just allowing people to make content freely. They can't be at fault for that. They're just a general platform. Like, Facebook can't be at fault for people that make posts on their personal pages. You know, Twitter can't be at fault for the posts that people make on their pages. The same thing goes with YouTube. YouTube can't be at fault for the things that are posted on the YouTube channels. They can try to regulate that and keep a majority of it out, but 500, like, what is it, 500 years? 500, oh sorry, no, it's not 500 years. 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. So literally no human person, no group of people, no massive staff of people can deal with that volume. It has to be mediated by machines, because nobody can regulate that much information. Is thin ice itself? Well, there's different ways that they can regulate it. For what specifically? What content creators are at? Okay, so Nintendo Addict, since you just got here, I'll go ahead and explain it. So hold on. Also take this. Let me preface what I'm about to say by, hold on, let me grab, that's not the video. Let me grab you the press conference really quick. So before I tell you that, I'm going to tell you that I got all my information directly from this FTC Federal Trade Commission's conference directly regarding this. So that information supersedes my information. So you should believe that over me, because my information is still secondhand of that. Now, I can explain to you in shorthand what it is, and then you can verify what I've said with your own eyes and your own listening to the FTC yourself. But what happens is that YouTube is a free open source for any content creator to make any kind of content they want, that is open to people without accounts to be able to click into their video and watch content. So if they have an account, even if they have an account that's still under the age, they are under the age of 13, there's nothing saying that they can't do that in the current account agreement. So they are then allowed to make an account and either create videos themselves, which if they're under the age of 13, that's in violation of the COPPA, or they're allowed to join in comments and live streams of content creators, and whenever they put out personally identifiable information and information that you can use to contact said child without the permission of the parent, that is in violation of the COPPA. And if you know, if the law states, which was made in 1998, if you are in actual knowledge that a child under the age of 13 is there, if some person comes into your live stream or pops in your comments and says that they're 9 years old, that's under the age of 13, and that is in violation of this, because then you have a direct way to contact them. That is their username, personally identifiable, and why they do this is again other reasons, due to like kids gambling and kids using their parents' money more than they should, and And again, people are going to bring up, oh, well, it's the parents' fault. It's not the point. And people are going to bring up, well, the FTC shouldn't have this. The FTC makes logical sense. People are going to bring up, oh, well, YouTube should do YouTube. It's all YouTube's fault. It's not really YouTube's fault, because it's everybody can post. Now, while again, I say it's not YouTube's fault, YouTube can do something about it. YouTube is doing stuff about it. Just, I don't think it's enough. I think they're gonna have to implement an account system like Twitch has, for sure. Worst year of media? Possibly, Lemons, because there's a lot of falsified information out there. It depends on how quickly Trump is impeached, because people are not watching the impeachment right now. And, well, I mean, people are. More and more people. But there's still like 25% of Americans that think Trump is good right now. And if you are on the side of Trump right now, you are clearly being propagandized. Like, the entire, all of America can see that you are being propagandized, and you yourself will see that you're being propagandized shortly, because it is snowballing, because they can't hide all the lies. They can't hide all this. They can't hide the fact that Trump is probably going to be impeached. They just can't hide that, no matter how much they just deny it and throw on more things. It's just they can't. They just can't. It's really sad that we can even be put in this situation through our media, through our sources of information. And again, this is the same thing that's happening on YouTube. It's not just our government, it's also on YouTube. Content creators thinking that they're not in the wrong, thinking that they're not doing their due diligence in doing the proper research and understanding the laws, in understanding what is really going on. Content creators are hearing second and third hand and fourth hand information about something that was opinionated and not actually understanding how it works. And that's the same thing going on in the government. People getting their information second, third, fourth hand information that is opinionated and filled with bias, and instead of just getting it from the source. He is going to, there's plenty of evidence against him, and it's just piling up. It is just piling up more and more. Literally, the final two statements of Devin Nunes and the chairman, Schiff. Devin Nunes was first. He said something. He said this is all a hoax. This is all an impeachment scam. Blah blah blah. Same thing he's been saying for ages, including that there's no evidence. He said directly the words, "There is no evidence for this impeachment hearing." That's the words he said. Literally, he said the words. Then he said the words. What do they say when they I repeal my, they say something when they give up the rest of their time. I can't remember what that phrase is, but then he said that, and then it went to Chairman Schiff, who then said, "Now I would like to thank you for your service, and let's go over all the evidence we have of these proceedings," and literally goes for 5 minutes explaining the entire process. And there is evidence after evidence after evidence, and the Republican side is just straight up saying that is not true. The only other people that do that are freaking flat earthers. I yield my time. Thank you, Nintendo Addict. I yield my time. That is exactly what they say. And then, isn't the only thing you can really do is ban accounts if you find out they're underage? Well, that, Nintendo Addict, but still, YouTube's algorithm, how they want to do this, might end up putting content that is under the age of like, again, even if they join in your stream or join in your content at all, is going to be construed as possibly being in violation of this, which is silly and really broad-band in ways, but YouTube could still avoid this, you know. And you know, TV also has to do this. He mentioned specifically in the conference that YouTube, somebody asks if this was just the first fight, or if this is if this is the first fight, or if this was the end. And he said it was likely, he would like it to be the first and final, but it's not likely going to be. It's going to be more companies, like TV companies, are also going to be getting in this as well. No one on either side wants to lose their platforms. Indeed. So I think what YouTube is gonna do is that they're gonna make some mistakes here. They're gonna make a huge mistake by just trusting an algorithm and not doing an account system. And then a few content creators are gonna get sued by the FTC, and that's gonna scare every other content creator from actually using the platform. When a content creator sees actual consequences for the FTC's regulations, consequences that they themselves are not looking into, mind you. Like, the content creators are not free from fault here. That's what a lot of content creators seem to think, is that they're free from fault. They are not. I cannot, because I now have knowledge of the COPPA. I know that other content creators are at fault here because I just have knowledge of it. You know, just having knowledge of it any content creator who is thinking logically and rationally will hear this and be like, well, I've seen that in streams, on videos, on YouTube overall. I've seen content creators talk to their audience as if that some of them are at the ages from 3 to 9. We learn the laws, indeed. Well, see, and we definitely need to learn more of the laws. This is a law that YouTube has had to pay out $172 million in the content creators. The content creators violated the law, and YouTube paid out for the content creators, so the content creators didn't have to get individually sued. In the conference, he gives reasons why they didn't go after specific content creators, and it depends on how badly YouTube screws this up, because if YouTube screws this up too much, it will definitely put other platforms way up, and if they're gonna have to change it, they're gonna have to. Or everybody that makes content on YouTube is just going to conform, and either, you know, they're either going to switch platforms. Well, okay, that if everybody switches platforms, then that's definitely going to screw YouTube over entirely, because nobody's going to want to be on a platform where they risk getting sued by the FTC. Nobody is. I don't want to be on a platform where I can risk getting sued by the FTC. So that's why I make my content not suable by the FTC. If you travel and break a foreign law, exactly. You still use, you don't, just because you don't know you broke a law, or even if you know you broke a law and you just say it out in the public, doesn't make it acceptable. Because again, in the terms of content creators, they don't know they broke a law, and they're trying to avoid punishment. And then in the terms of like Trump, he knows he's broken the law. Republicans know they've broken the law, and they're trying to say that it doesn't matter because they've said it out in the open, or because it didn't succeed. Just because you don't succeed, or you know that you broke a law, doesn't mean you're void of punishment either. So how? No. My current content is suable. That's the thing. I'm saying future content I'm going to make is going to be not suable, meaning it will not have, I'll either mark it as as kids only, and it really will be kids, or I'll mark it as not or 18 plus, so that I could argue in a court of law that no kid could actually access my account, and then access my account's videos. And then I don't know if I'll sit in that center, because that's a gray area that I think that if you play games in that area, it's a really murky area where freaking FTC might come after you for that. Yeah, well, Paul, nobody thinks that nobody thinks that they're at fault. You know, nobody wants to think that they're in the wrong. But, you know, that's where critical thinking comes in so great importance, is in such great importance with the critical thinking, is that you have to be able to accept when you yourself are in the wrong. I accept that I myself am in the wrong. That's what I try to do every day. Whenever I'm in the wrong, I will make sure that what I know is right, as best as I can to my ability. Didn't we change it in the dashboard? Yes, yeah, Twisted, if you just mark your stuff as 18 plus, like I did this stream, everybody's gonna have to click that they understand and wish to proceed that your content is 18 plus. You should be fine with doing that, no matter, even if your content video, like I think arguably in a court of law you could do that. Now, I wouldn't say that trust me on that. I would say you would need to contact a lawyer in your state about that, because I can't, not even a lawyer in a different state can comment on the laws in your state. So it can be learned. It is, Paul. There is leniency here. But it is a very serious, it's been going on for a long time, and it's a very serious accusation. That is why the fine is so huge. Again, YouTube paying out $172 million. And that is 10 times what they've received in all COPPA violation fines ever. They said they said 31 cases of COPPA violations, and this is 10 times all of those those amounts combined. So like that's a lot of money. And again, that's money that was earned by content creators through targeted advertisement to children that either did or did not know that they were doing that. And it wasn't their fault necessarily, because they didn't, I mean, it is kind of their fault for not knowing, but I mean, it's also my fault for not knowing, you know? I was at fault because I didn't know, you know? If I saw a kid in here, I wouldn't have known the difference if there was a problem with it, because I didn't know about the COPPA, even though it was here well before, it was in effect long before I ever started streaming. I think it would have been better for YouTube to really let their content creators know about that a long time ago. Just for laws, I think that laws should be understood more using undisclosed mechanisms. Well, but again, Nintendo Addict, if you look at the law and you look at the thing, you could remove YouTube directly, and you could put literally any other platform in its place, as long as the same things happen. It's not about the company. The general platform where people are allowed to freely upload content can't be at fault for the freely uploaded content. They can change how their content is viewed, but they can't be the reason for people. They can't be blamed for what people post. You know, again, as we were talking about earlier, you don't blame Twitter for tweets made by bad tweets. You don't blame Twitter. You don't blame Facebook for tweets or posts you don't like. You don't blame the platform for those, unless it's from those platforms, like the news. Like, to the fact that Twitter won't run political based ads anymore because it's heavily falsified. Was it Twitter? Yeah, it's Twitter, and Facebook will continue to run them. C works or just test learnings? No recordings whatsoever. What do you mean? Puts more work on kids who already work hard. to keep up with a changing society. Well, I'm not too worried about the kids understanding that it should have no C-works or tests, just learning. For the laws, well, it's important. A lot of people, like, there's a lot of straight distrust for the government and for corporations and whatnot. It is just a seeded thing that happens, and it's been brewing in America for a long time. A whole bunch of people just have a distrust because they can make connections that don't exist usually. And so it's just a further distrust for the government, and that's what got Donald Trump elected, because he wasn't he wasn't a government official. He was different than the rest. Oh no, I shouldn't even put quotes. He really is different, and he's different in a really bad way. He's not a politician. He doesn't know what needs to be done in the position. He's using it for his own political gain. I mean, not just his political gain, his monetary gain in some things as well. Don't vote a banker named Donald just... Yeah, well, my argument is, if you don't like the government, or if you don't like a capitalist society, I don't think that it's a problem with the system. The system could implement rules for precedents to keep people from violating these governments, because the government itself is not a bad thing. It's necessary. It's necessary for everybody to have a unified entity helping everybody that can't do the infrastructure themselves. You know, we wouldn't have public schools without government. We wouldn't have police officers. We wouldn't have firefighters. We wouldn't have roads. We wouldn't have roads. You know, we wouldn't have... There's so many things we would not have without a government, a governing entity that could delegate tasks and make sure nobody's out to steal and rob and ruin people's lives in every way they can. That's why it's supposed to be a democratic party. That's why we have a democratic society. Because right now, what the Republicans, what it seems like on one side is they care about how much they want and how much they're losing and how much they can't gain from this or whatever. And it's the wrong way to go about doing things. They don't want to give up anything, which is, man, I can't even comment how much people just don't want to even, like, they just refuse to accept anything. Use this knowledge for college. Use it for right now. Use it forever. I would say don't use my knowledge at all. What I would say is think openly, think critically, and create your own knowledge. Because if you create your own knowledge, you're going to come to the same conclusions I do. If you are willing to look at objects objectively, and when you yourself are wrong, are willing to accept that and accept that you yourself are wrong, like I did earlier today. I accepted when I watched I was pushing, again guys, I was pushing that people were blowing this out of proportion. I even talked to a dude on the internet about it who got upset with me and was shoving a whole bunch of YouTube content creators videos in my face saying how I'm wrong. And then I was providing him with FTC Q&A and YouTube's video saying that he was blowing it out of proportion. And I understand from the FTC conference that I was in the wrong there. In the sense, he's still blowing it out of proportion. They all are. But in a different way than it is still a huge deal. It's still a huge deal. But content creators are blowing it out of proportion in the wrong way. Like they're blaming parents, and they're blaming the FTC, and they're blaming other things when they need to be blaming themselves. They need to accept responsibility for violating this. And the only reason they haven't is because they just don't know the law. They don't understand what it means. I did not understand what it meant, not until I saw that conference. And then he spelled it out in in very explicit terms, that what it means. Like he did not leave anything out to chance or to miswording or something. It's spelled out very, very, very clear. And again, if you guys here's again the press conference. Watch it. It supersedes my information. So everything I've said today is not as accurate as that link right there. That link that I just gave you is more accurate information than anything I could give you. Because listening to just me is not good enough. You have to, everybody has to do their due diligence, and if diligence means to be careful and to be very, very to be very careful about seeing something, about obtaining something, and that is what you do. You do due diligence in your information, in your research, and you follow the source. Don't use a content creator. Don't listen to a content creator only, don't listen to just me. Don't listen to, any other content creator on YouTube, because they and me got all of our information from a source, and that source is that YouTube. But Paul, it is important. It is extremely important to it is extremely important for me to say this. No matter how right I am, that is besides the point. I could be the most right at all, but that's really not the point here. What I'm trying to get people to do is not take my word for it. Please don't. Please do not take my word for it. I can say all the right things, but still, you cannot take my word for it. I will tell you what, as best as I can, for fact and honesty, and for everybody's benefit, that I think I can. But I am still not the direct source. I am still not the piece of information that everybody got theirs from. So I still interpret it in a single way that I can interpret wrong. The only way that you can not misinterpret it is to see it yourself. And the FTC, well, that would be really funny. But they're a government agency, so they just, all that money just goes back to the government, which was funny. He does mention that in the conference. He says that the fine is almost exactly 1 year budget of the FTC. So essentially, so with this fine, it's essentially reimbursing for an entire year of the FTC's budget. So I was like, that to me is it's funny. Other people are going to immediately see that as, oh, well, they're just trying to look for more money for the government. That if you look at government budgets, you'll know that 172 million is not really that much money when it comes to money on a government scale. So it gets way more than that, like billions upon billions, and maybe even trillions. So like 172 million, it's nothing. A lot of people will argue things without actually fully understanding the situation or fully looking at it. I myself am subject to not having the full story, as is witnessed by my information yesterday compared to my information today. Again, huge shout out to Rigo, Spanish dude, for freaking providing me that link, because I did not see that. When I went to the FTC page to look for information on this, I did not see that conference. Because if I had, I would have been singing a different tune that whole time. Because it's a direct information. When Rigo gave me an actual video to a conference by FTC, I clicked on it and I immediately accepted that. Because that is the most trustworthy source. Rigo did his due diligence in making sure that he had the right information, which I am very grateful for. And do I have a hadn't seen that link yet? Well, this is a conference. It is like literally the it is literally the conference. It's called FTC Press Conference on Settlement with Google/YouTube. And then it directly correlates to content creators on this platform. 100%. Everything you'll hear on there will directly affect you or somebody you know here on the platform. So if you look at that, it's about 40 minutes long, and I suggest spending the time to just sit there and watch it. Sit there, watch it, absorb it, and try to understand from the side of a governing perspective rather than the side of a creator. Because if you look at it at the side of the creator, you're going to have a very hard time accepting anything they're saying, and you're going to be ignoring half of it. And that's really that's a huge problem, because you're just going to be I don't believe this. No, it couldn't happen. No. And then you're going to be talking to yourself and throwing things and getting angry, and that's really going to make you misinformation and gather wrong ideas. And I suggest just looking at it with an open and objective mind. And I can't promise that you're going to come to the same conclusion, but if I'm thinking it logically, if I'm thinking 100% logically and clearly and ethically, and that is 100%, my reasoning is 100% logical and ethical, and then that means that anybody else who is thinking 100% logical or ethical will come to the same conclusion. So if I'm the only one who comes to this conclusion, and everybody else is coming up with something that is more logical or more ethical, then I'm in the wrong. But I have yet to see that currently, and I just want everybody to do their own research and do their own critical thinking on the subject. And I can almost guarantee that if they're doing it objectively, that they're just gonna come to the same conclusion I do. It's just a matter of knowing which information to accept as true. Is really the crux of it all. Too many content creators are just watching other content creators say things without, and then leaving out crucial things. Like, I had no idea YouTube was paying out the FTC until I watched that conference. I had no idea that YouTube had to pay out $172 million on behalf of content creators. That alone tells me that YouTube is trying. They're trying in some ways. Not very. They could do more, but they're still trying. They're trying to not hurt their content creators and still help them just run their channels perfectly fine with as little change to their style as possible. But it's gonna need more of an abrupt change for sure, for all content creators, unfortunately. And that includes like people like the person I was talking to on Twitter, who apparently has a YouTube channel that has cartoons. That it's gonna affect him too. It's gonna affect anybody that could have a child that watches their content. And that's, again, one child that is under the age of 13. That's all it takes. And then if that child has the ability to comment and says that they are under the age, and then you have actual knowledge of a child watching your content, therefore you are in a violation of that. I don't think so. Google, maybe. YouTube, nah. There are other platforms, and if YouTube lost a majority of its creators due to this, YouTube would fall. I don't think that YouTube is going to allow that. I think they're going to implement rules, whatever they can, to keep as many creators around. And if anybody gets sued by the FTC, that's going to make a lot of people leave. Pretty much every content creator that has a fear for their channel is going to leave as soon as one person gets sued. As soon as the first person gets sued, then a lot of content creators are going to leave. 70% of our nation gets its news from YouTube. Well, see, that's the thing, is that all those news agencies are gonna be are gonna mark their content family friendly, you know, and they'll take the limited ads. Sure, they don't care. They're still making money off the side, and a lot of places are just trying to spread information, whether or not they get extra revenue. I think that anything that is aired on TV is also going to be just fine. They're just going to mark their stuff as made for kids and just accept the no comments and accept the no comments and the lack of likes and just still get the information out there. Because they have other sources of revenue. The people it's really going to hurt are the people where YouTube is their only source of revenue. If they don't have revenue coming from any other source, it's really going to affect them. Because this is going to be their only way of doing that. And on YouTube, it's starting to look like that really the only way that they're going to be able to do that is going to be is to just make it where they can make the accounts. Like, that's the only way I foresee YouTube actually getting out of this at all. Unfortunately, what needs to happen is there needs to be what I think really needs to happen right now is content creators need to understand that that everything is not hunky-dory, and that they are indeed at fault, and that they are at fault for sure. It's and a lot of content creators are gonna have problems, lots and lots. I don't suggest that content creators won't have problems, because they will. Especially content creators who are doing mostly child content. I think that it's gonna be really up to YouTube. Honestly, it's gonna be highly up to YouTube to do something to save its content creators. Because while the content creators are at fault here, I agree that content creators are at fault here. That doesn't mean that content creators are void of this. I mean, that doesn't mean that YouTube can't do anything. That doesn't mean that YouTube can't do anything, because they certainly can, to help their content creators get through this, and they're gonna have to. Dang it! I need to jump up faster than that. I like how I have an hour on this, where it's just me been talking rather than me actually playing, because the timer goes. The timer goes when you do when you're paused as well. Dang it. I need to go straight up. Whoops. Oh, I went too soon! I almost had it. Oh, I guess I could do that. I dodge down, then I dodge up. No, definitely not. That throws it off. I don't know why I'm trying to do a dodge down and then a dodge up. It's just not going to work. Dang it. But it's definitely going to be up to content creators. And again, I really hope that content creators can actually start looking at the information they get. Because it's going to require content creators to not sign a petition and not try to avoid it. It's just going to have to be them accepting it. It's just going to have to be them accepting that this needs to happen and then figuring out ways that we can all comply with it and move on with our content at the same time, rather than just trying to change it. Because like content creators that are fighting this are all like, why can't I collect information from children? Why can't I contact 13-year-olds and or younger? That should be within my. That's what they're like. That's what it sounds like to an outside perspective. Is like, why do you need to? Why do you need that? You know, you don't need that. You don't. That's really not at all something that needs to happen. You know, it's definitely not how you want it. This game looks incredibly difficult. It's pretty difficult. I wouldn't say it's one of those rage games though. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those games that you enjoy, even though it is difficult. It is on the difficult side. My nose itches. It's for sure on the difficult side. But, it's still a lot of fun, and I wouldn't call it super ragey. Many of them, that is their only audience. And that's the problem, though. That's the whole thing, though, is that by having knowledge that is their audience and communicating with them daily and having their information and those kids trying to donate and do things that are guided by the content creators, by like telling them to download a mobile app that they've been sponsored by and things like that. That's content directed at children. Unintentionally still directed at children. That they can observe and take as directed things. Those dudes are screwed. People that do mobile game app things, probably. They're probably, and it's probably mobile game, honestly, it's probably the mobile game, since people that do the mobile game ads get paid so much money to do those mobile game ads, it is likely that is where most of this revenue is coming from. To getting members one day. You can. Twisted. Yeah, you can still have members. In fact, memberships is like the one way that people that are definitely going to still be able to earn money from. As if they even if they mark their content as 18 plus, even if they mark their content as 18 plus, they can still have members. Yeah. Members and all that are still a thing. In fact, again, I think YouTube is definitely going to just institute a ruling that says that you have, like what Twitch has. I don't think YouTube is going to let all of its content creators lose, because if they let even one or two of them lose, they're going to lose a bunch. What's up, Jess? So Twisted, as you've explained how you want your channel to go, I don't think as long as you just put your stuff to marked as 18 plus, I don't think you're gonna have a problem, honestly. Again, legally, they might still try to mark it as made for kids, but I think in a legal argument, if they can't access your content without being 18, it sounds pretty logically sound to me, because you need an account to access. Like this stream right now is marked 18 plus. You have to literally hit a button that says, I accept being 18 and plus and proceed. Or you had to have hit a button previously that says, I always accept adult content and don't even bother asking me. Either way, you need an account to watch like this stream right here. And no, we cannot, there's not a 13-year-old that could be in this stream right now without having lied on their thing. And if they lied, that's not the fault of YouTube. That's not the fault of me. That's the fault of that person, that child, and their parent. And so I take no responsibility essentially for any child watching this content right now. I've removed all my responsibility from the situation. I've done everything in my power to make sure that it's not my responsibility. And I think that's sufficient. I can't say for sure because I don't know the legal laws in every state about how it works, or even federally, but that to me says that, I mean, that's pretty logically sound. What's up, Minecraft dude? That you're 18. Exactly, Matt. Fortnite streaming. Well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, how many people playing Fortnite are most of their audience are people that are very, very young playing Fortnite. That's a very good point. Is that all these content creators that are streaming Fortnite, they're gonna definitely be streaming over on different platforms, for sure. Indeed, Matt, you're absolutely right. Yeah, clicking a little thing that says you are over the age of 18 is the same thing. That completely takes the responsibility out of the hands of anybody but the poster. And I mean, it makes sense, you know? If we want YouTube to be a free and open platform, then we have to accept the consequences that come with being a free and open platform. Mostly, oh, no, yeah. You're nervous though? No, you can still get monetized. And when it comes to ads, again, that's where it's the middle point. It's the middle point that YouTube's gonna have a problem with. By the time you get monetized, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it, Twisted. I mean, you're rising for sure, but I think even after you hit that 1,000 mark, it's still going to take a little bit for when you send in your application. I think YouTube will have this whole thing dealt with and is going to try to save most of its content creators. That's optimistic viewpoint. That's not necessarily what's going to happen, but I think YouTube will do whatever they can in their power to not lose their creators, because their creators are their whole form of content. If nobody makes content on YouTube, YouTube goes under. You know, if everybody stopped buying Starbucks coffees for one day in every location around the world, nobody bought a Starbucks coffee, the business might go under and lose hundreds of millions of dollars, because they are paying people for that day. They're paying for locations, they're paying for businesses, they're paying for materials, they're paying salaries. All of that is coming out, and that's a daily cost of hundreds of millions of dollars. They just have all the people buying stuff every day to offset it, to make it where they're making a profit. So if everybody just stopped buying from one business, nobody bought from them for one whole day, you could put pretty much any business into near bankruptcy. Yeah, I like YouTube too. I like YouTube as well. They are the biggest platform as well, and that's why it's I think it's important. I think YouTube is gonna do what they can for creators, and creators are trying to bite the hand that feeds them really, because they're just always hating on YouTube and saying that YouTube is in the wrong, and without actually doing research and understanding the problem behind it all. Because other content creators said that it's YouTube's fault, and then it just becomes a popular thing to just hate on YouTube, and YouTube just takes the bull and then responds back to its creators in with as kind words and as best as they can. Now, granted, again, it's not enough. They need to do more. They could have told content creators more about this COPPA violation. They could have known more. They could have made it a thing earlier on. But like, I've been hearing for months how people were talking about how they were, not months, years of people saying that their content is family friendly, that their content is kid friendly of any age, and that alone, by them saying that, is in violation of that without them even knowing. So like, I can't get upset with any of them. I can only get upset with myself as a content creator. I don't even get upset with other content creators because, you know, they didn't know either. But we should have known. There should have been more steps taken to let us know. But it's too late to say, whoa, let's blame YouTube for not telling us earlier. Again, it's too late for that too. We just need to figure out a way to move forward at this point. Not figure out more ways to stay divided. And too many people just look for more ways to stay divided rather than finding common ground to move forward. Even if you play Pokemon, well, the thing is that, again, I've explained this like 5 times in this, but if it can be, if a kid could click on it, if a child could click on it, then it can be seen as a child will click on it at some point in time. Pokemon is a game that children play, therefore it's a game that children will click on, especially if they want to see it. Again, Twisted, my question is, have you seen in other streams people say that they are under the age of 13? In any stream, have you ever seen anybody say that they are under the age of 13? Like, in any phrase you want, you can phrase it any way you want, but like, that is the message. Have you ever seen that? Because that is a rule that was in violation when you saw that happen. So if that can happen, it is in violation. And because it can happen, it is violations. And because it can happen on YouTube, it's because the video you're making is Pokemon or not, cartoon or not. If it could attract a child, it might attract a child. And if it might attract a child, then it can attract a child. Like the laws make sense, and it's tough to enforce, but it makes sense for the sense that like YouTube, I think the content creators can't do much here. I think that them marking their content as kid friendly or not is foremost the thing that content creators can do. But what YouTube needs to do from there is put everything that is marked as not made for kids behind a login wall. That's what they need to do. Is anything that anybody is marked as not for kids needs to be immediately put behind a login wall, and nothing else changes. Then everybody who posts their content to say for kids, then they will be judged if their content is made for kids. And if it's not made for kids at that point, then those channels will suffer civil consequences, which is, charges, because they're going to go, the FTC is going after specific channels in the future, not YouTube. When they go through again, when they go through and they determine things, the YouTube is trying to clean it up, and then the FTC is going to do a sweep after, and then if they find anything, they're going to go after specific content creators. They're not going after YouTube. But there's nothing else we can do other than marking it as 18 plus. So like how I did with this stream right now, I marked it as 18 plus, so you won't get ads on this video, but I still get my memberships, and no person under the age of 18 can be here without unless they falsify their age. So that is a way around it. Like, I am confident, I am 98% confident that no matter what I did, no matter what I put as like the thumbnail on my stream, even if it was really kid related and a kid might click into it, that they'd still have to get in through a login wall. So I could argue that I did my part in keeping a child away from content that I deemed not acceptable for children's eyes. And so that's what we can do as content creators. Again, right now YouTube needs to do something more as well as content creators. What I think content creators need to do is be aware that they are indeed in violation of it. I was not aware. Again, content creators just think that they're not at fault at all. They're like, how is me playing a game at fault? Well, you playing a game, access to the public, that is literally anybody without an account can hit youtube.com and go and see your stream because they don't need to log in. They can be any age to do so. And if it has a game that kids play or something that kids might watch, and I mean, this includes like the Martin Luther King speech too, you know, for all the 18 plus. Well, ads are limited on 18 plus. I don't know how it works, but ads are very limited on 18 plus if you get any at all. So, yeah, when you do 18 plus, it says right there that ads are very limited. It doesn't say you don't get ads. It says that they're very, very limited. Because the advertisers, now get this is a whole separate thing. Advertisers, they want to market to the children. See, the advertisers are about to get the second part of this. After the FTC is done with Google and YouTube, you can bet your booty that they're about to go after the advertisers that are doing this, like the mobile game apps and whatnot. You can bet your booty that they're going to be going after all those dudes, because they are most definitely marketing specifically to kids and gathering data in order to make kids more likely to go and download their app. That is what mobile apps are doing, and they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. That's what you said 1 hour ago? I must have missed it. But indeed, Paul, indeed, that's definitely what will happen. For sure. They're definitely going to go after them. For sure. You're absolutely right. Because the advertisement agencies are also targeting children with their statistics and their information. And how YouTube has done it they're just not going to record information. No, that's the thing, Paul. They're not allowed to either. They're not allowed to either. The FTC is coming after them too. He says it in the conference. Again, he says specifically, he talks about the advertisers. Again, you got to watch the conference. He says it in the end, nearing the end of that conference, where he's all like, where he starts mentioning how when somebody asks if this was the first battle, and he says he would like it to be the first and final battle, but it's likely not going to be, because there's a lot of advertisers out there, and there's a lot of platforms, and there's a lot of video platforms and a lot of advertisers out there that are all doing the same thing. YouTube is just the biggest, so it's the biggest target. YouTube is the only one in the whole of everybody doing these reparations for the COP Act. Literally the only business that has to do anything about it. But it's about to change that for more, and more businesses are going to have to do more. YouTube is just being targeted right now because it's just the biggest. It's just the biggest violator. It doesn't mean it's the only violator. It's just the largest one. Again, Paul, you're like that statement you just said is rife with biases. There's just so many biases in that comment of yours. I would that's something you definitely gotta step out of. You gotta step out of that as best as you can. try to notice when you have a bias like that. Try to, again, look at this information as with a few biases as possible. If you find yourself hating them because they're a corporation and a government, try to stop yourself from thinking that just because they're a corporation and a government, that makes them evil. That doesn't. A lot of people have problems with corporations and the government, but they're not. They're just systems. You don't consider this video game to be a bad or a bad thing, or a good thing. It is just a series of rules that allows you to make choices throughout and play it how you want. That's kind of how a government is. It is a series of rules that people have to follow. And if they break the game, if they glitch it for their own benefit, if they start using aimbot hacks, then they're breaking that system. They're breaking the rules of that system. If they're using aimbot so that they can get an advantage over everybody else that is playing by the rules of the game, then that puts everybody else at an unfair advantage. That's what's happening here. Is people are using aimbot, real life. They're breaking the rules of the system for their own benefit. Well, corporations are treated as a person. So a single corporation is treated as a person, and that's to simplify laws. Really, when trying corporations for actions they have committed, and the people that are in charge of those corporations can have problems, but the corporation itself is treated as a person in the eyes of the law, which makes sense when you go into the laws and how it can work out. Because it can cover something more wholly than just a business can. Because a business, there's a lot of, you have to then take into account everybody involved, and not just the people that are in the decision-making part. When you treat it as, when they treat it as a person, and then they can just take the people that are involved, the top people, and deal with them directly. How does that make sense? It makes sense in a legal standpoint because you're gonna, if YouTube was sued, and it would take it as a company rather than every person in the company dealing with a brunt of that, because they're all a part of that company. They're all a person. They're all pieces of that. So it's now when it's no longer when the corporation is a community of people, then everybody is at fault, even if they're not in the decision making. Even if they're out of that decision making, and then they have loopholes. Again, the people in power have loopholes and ways to get around laws, but they're still trying to break the rules, and that's why precedence comes in. Well, that's why rules are in place and try to be made to make it a more fair system for everybody. If they go out of business, then they are by law legally supposed to pay. Yeah, and they're legally supposed to pay. If a business goes out of business without telling their employees, yeah, they have to pay. Yeah, that's the law. They have to pay. Whether they can or not is a completely different story. Whether the business has money to pay it is a completely different story. They still have to pay. They still do. Paul, again, what you're saying is rife with biases, and probably confirmation bias. There's just, you have a lot of bias in your words based on a lot of things I've heard. A lot of people who just don't like anything related to corporations or government. They literally, I know I've met a lot of people who just refuse to accept anything that is government related or corporation related, and I would like to point out where you are in America, that most Americans can live comfortably and can find ways of employment and can find ways to succeed. Most Americans, even those that choose not to, even those that are on the side of the road asking for coins, they could still do more to better themselves, and that's not at the fault of the government for them not doing that. No, I understand, and again, that's a problem with the people in power, not the system itself. That's people breaking the rules. That's people trying to bend the rules, saying for their benefit. That's what they're doing. That's like that, and that's why we need to make sure that the information we're getting puts the right people in power. That it's the people in power that determine this stuff. Like, yeah, freaking the current administration has done a lot for businesses and corporations and things like that. Yeah, for sure. Oh, no doubt. But that doesn't make it that doesn't say that George Washington put his business first, or Abraham Lincoln put his business first. You know, that's because to say that government does that is to say that George Washington said that his business comes first, or something along those lines, or even made it seem like that, when George Washington himself they wanted him to be a president for life, and he said no president can have more than 2 terms for the sake of the country. How can we change them? By getting into politics. By doing things, by making change. That's how we do this. That's how we do it. We sitting back and just complaining about the problems, about how these people are doing wrong, doesn't change anything. Blaming the parents for the YouTube actions doesn't change a damn thing. The parents aren't going to change. If you can change the parents, GG's. But you're not. That's unlikely to happen. You use the power, the things you have power over. You use the power you have to do so. And see, that's the thing, Paul. That's the thing is there are corporations that don't pay enough in taxes. That doesn't make the government evil. I don't see how this makes the government itself evil. It's a system. It is a system itself. It has its faults, but that's why we need people in place that are willing to change it. And to get those people in place, we need everybody to be on board with the correct information. Because right now, because the corporations are getting bigger and they're getting more payouts and stuff like that, because the people are not looking at the information they're taking, and they're just like, I hate government, put Trump in charge because he's not government. That's what people are saying. And then Trump goes to help those companies make more money, helps his own company to make more money. That is just fact and logic that anybody can see, and people refuse to accept that information because Trump they immediately are biased to hate the government. They're a heavy bias to hate the government and hate corporations, leads people to just not think about it at all. You go into every situation that involves a corporation or involves the government, you go into every single one of those situations with already deciding that they were wrong. Prior to ever even listening to a single shred of information, you have already gone into looking into that conversation believing that what you are going to see is wrong. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't even matter. Freaking flat earthers, people can say in their video things that agree with them, and they will still deny it. No, the government is one big business. The government is just a bigger business than all the others. That is all it is. It is a really, 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 really big business. But a business that has the strongest incentives to make it sure its citizens are happy. Because if its citizens aren't happy, it's no longer in business. If the citizens are not happy, if enough people if there was enough unrest and enough people were unhappy, there would be change on a massive scale, and then a different business would take over. A different business, it'd just be another government. Because what is a business but something that deals in goods, has customers, and keeps their things happy. No, it's gonna be either way, Paul. It's going to be either way because we live in a capitalist society. And we just don't have all the rules we need in place yet to keep people from breaking them. You know, we need a new patch. We need a new patch for this beta that we're still running. That is the US government. There's still more patches to be made. You know, there's still more hot fixes that need to be done. Trying out some CD, this stuff is whack. Well, you probably won't get much of a feel from it. No pay scale up until silver. Well, Paul, again, there are things that come with making money. The government needs to make money to stay afloat. Now, how they spend the money doesn't always need to be as they currently. I don't agree with how money is necessarily spent. Remove corporate. Again, you're going after the wrong issue. You're going after the wrong issue. Like you're trying to fight something that is way less of a problem. Again, if you really wanted to tear down any one corporation, I already told you how to do it. Get everybody on board with not buying from them for one day. Make it one day that you don't buy anything from the biggest corporation you can. And no businesses do. Nobody gets from them. Nobody purchases anything from them. They do not receive any revenue for 24 hours. If you stopped revenue for 24 hours of pretty much any major corporation that has thousands of locations and millions of employees, they're going to suffer hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. They have to keep people happy. But see, again, Paul, you've gone into this whole discussion. You've gone into this discussion from the beginning. You already believed. I have not had a conversation where you have saw the corporations as anything but evil. So that to me says that you cannot talk about this unbiasedly. Is that you have a bias that is holding on to you quite deeply, and that bias helps you not think of this objectively, because you've gone into every conversation that we've had as already immediately blaming the corporations and the government. It's been every single time that you go into the conversation already having made your choice. Nobody's going to be able to help you understand more than you. And if you want to stick with stick with that information and stick with the biases, that's not something I can help with. And again, you're Albert Einstein went to his grave refusing to believe in quantum theory. He did not believe that the quantum realm existed. He refused to believe that in direct evidence that there was a quantum realm. He refused to believe that because it didn't make enough sense to him. Now, through science and many years and proof, we know there's a quantum realm. How it connects to main science and whatnot, we're not quite sure, because there's still a gap there. But we know it's there. We know it's there. Despite what Albert Einstein, one of the smartest people that we have ever considered to live, was sure, was positive, and argued all of his peers, against all of his peers, all the other brightest minds we have considered. He argued against them that they were wrong. And Albert Einstein was proven wrong. Biases can affect everybody. See, and Paul, it's that kind of confidence that I'm talking about. I'm not saying that I am right. I am saying that through my critical my observations of what I believe to be critical observations that are devoid of my own judgment and just based on the logic presented, that's the conclusion I've come to. I am not saying I am right. I am not saying I am wrong, because my information is subject to change based on actual evidence that proves me wrong otherwise. But I can't accept that as actual information until I'm given it. And Paul, I would need to see the government. I would really need to see the government papers on this. I would need to see the proof Amazon is doing this, and then I would also need to see how this matters as well, because it's not like he himself is making them. Even if they were, which I don't necessarily believe this, but even if they are, it doesn't matter, because that's besides the point. Okay, I would need to see hard evidence of that before I believe that, and I don't believe it. And if you can give me a government source, or a source even from Amazon that says that is not a YouTube video, that is not CNN or Fox News or anything like that. A government source or a source from Amazon that directly states that, I can accept that as information, because that is when we know. Otherwise, it's hearsay and rumors, and then you can speculate all you want about it, but we can speculate anything. People speculated aliens in Area 51. Everybody speculates aliens in Area 51. That doesn't make it true. I don't believe that there are aliens in 51. I think it's just an military air base where they have every right to protect the American secrets from people of warring nations who want to see us harm. Fair enough. Okay, then I'm going to need to see that video or that quote directly. I still am going to need that exact. I'm still going to need to see the video. I'm still going to need to see the documentation that says that this is actual fact, and not somebody who said he said that. By having somebody in the military does not a source of information, unless your son is the one that is in direct contact about the defensive contracts. If your son is in direct contact about that knowledge, he wouldn't tell you, because he couldn't. He wouldn't be able to say that. I don't think he'd be able to legally say that. he can speculate, and he can say, well, it could be, and then you can draw connections, and then you can draw these connections and say that these things are connected because you drew them together, but that doesn't mean that they are connected. You know, if your son is a high-ranking military officer and he knows for sure that that Amazon is supplying guns to the military, I don't believe that, because I don't think that they'd be able to say that legally and not be in deep trouble themselves. And if he's just in the military and then he's just hearing it from friends and colleagues, that's speculation. That's hearsay rumors that has no basis in reality. So if you can find me an actual video, an actual document, an actual piece of information from a source that can be trusted, which I know you don't trust, you won't trust any source of information that comes from anywhere but what you hear and see yourself, because that is how biases work, is that you only are going to trust information from the sources you trust it from. And you're just not going to look at CNN or YouTube as a corporation or anything that makes money. You're not going to see it objectively. You can't. And you just, it's every single, again, it needs to, I need the proof. I need the proof behind the news outlet. I need the proof. You know what also news outlets covered? That the earth was going to get destroyed in 2012 and 2013 and 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. In every single one of these years since 2012, pretty much every news outlet has covered apocalyptic stories every year. I don't know about you, but it still hasn't been no apocalypse yet. On video. Again, I need to see this. I need to see it. And with my, he says, okay, for one, saying that somebody aims to be a sole supplier of military aid says nothing. Again, I need actual documentable proof of this. I mean, you can't just go off of what people are saying on the news, because they're heavily biased to make you feel a certain way. People watch the impeachment hearings through Fox News and think Trump has done nothing wrong, when everybody watching C-SPAN is like, how are these people not seeing anything wrong? Like, how? My point is, Paul, I'm not going to be shocked, because as I stated, that doesn't matter. That's not the problem. If everybody stopped buying from Amazon, Amazon would go under. If everybody went to their local store and nobody bought anything from Amazon Amazon is really big, so chances are it would probably take a few days. It would probably take like a week of nobody in the world buying anything from Amazon. Them just have to suffer losses of money every day, hundreds of millions of dollars every day, billions of dollars. Then, in that case, that's what would happen. Again, Amazon has to keep its customers happy. I need to see this. I really need to see this, Paul, because this is all speculation to me. It's all saying, I saw it once, I heard it once, and things like that. I can't believe it. I can't. Because it is not factual to me until it's like, even if they were, he has a lot of money, so he can pay for the research into that. Now, should he? Probably not. He probably could do things other than being a military supplier. He probably could. But even if he is, That is way besides the point. That is just is way besides the point. That is just dragging the issue elsewhere. That is just dragging the issue elsewhere because if the government is what's giving, if the people that are currently in the power of the government are doing too much to help these corporations, then we need to change the people in the power of the government who want to reprimand the corporations. Like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, they're both wanting to put huge taxes on the rich. They both want to. You know, heck, I want to. I think that all people in politics don't need to make as much money as they do. I think teachers and police officers and firefighters need to make more money. And that's where I think money should go, is that they should make more money, to not only because they are integral to our part of society, but also so that more people can enjoy the thing that they want to do, because people want to be teachers. They enjoy it. That's why people are teachers now, is because they enjoy it. Is what they want to do. They don't usually do it for the money because it doesn't get them much. But in my mind, like, why not give them more money? They're our public school teachers. No, I think when it comes to, if it comes to a bailout, if it comes to America bailing out any corporation, it's because they are so integral in parts of how America runs as a business, that if one of the cogs of the machine fails, then the government might start failing, because Amazon might be doing a lot of contracts for the government that it relies on, and other companies do contracts for the government that the government relies on. And if they didn't bail them out, then they might be a problem. I don't know the stories behind that, but that is the logical basis of why a government might help a business out. Yeah, when it comes to teachers, I think teachers should be paid more, and I'm like so many hours in. I'm just gonna go this. Now that I'm like 2.5 hours off of my time on that. In any case, grab a shower before it's too late. Well, I just hope that you can look at the thing. You know, tell you what. I don't know if I can play it directly. I don't know if it's copyright by the FTC. I don't think so. It's a press conference, so it shouldn't be. Maybe I should I think what I should do, I say what I think I'm going to do for a stream is I'm going to just do a stream where we watch through the entire FTC press conference. Because I think I can do that. And then we will go through every point on it. Because I think content creators need to know, and I think I'll leave that channel up on YouTube as well. I mean, that video up on YouTube. Oh, no worries, Paul. And Brandy, by the way, if you want to watch C-SPAN, they have a YouTube channel. They also are online, freely accessible. I was watching it from 2 spaces. Hey, right now, the next one is the next impeachment. Volker and Morrison testimony is just about to happen. I didn't realize it was happening this late in the day. Oh, they were already.
United front against Russian aggression.
Message on the morning of
I missed.
July 25th.
Missed some because they started 2 hours ago. I'm actually going to go ahead and call it. And wait, did they end it? Or are they taking a recess? I think they're taking a recess right now. Hold on.
So much then, because we're all U.S. officials, but Mayor Giuliani, I don't view that as a channel at all, because he's not a representative of the U.S. government. He's a private citizen. I viewed him as perhaps a useful barometer in understanding what may be helpful communication from the Ukrainian government, but not someone in a position to represent the U.S. government at all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, why don't we take a 5 or 10 minute break? If I could ask.
Yep, they're on recess right now. So I missed a couple of the testimonies right now. Impeachment raid. They don't have a chat on their stream. Could you imagine rating the C-SPAN live stream? You know, like information raid. Oh man, that would be hilarious. Okay, I do think I'll do that though, because it's important. It's important. People don't want to listen to it. They don't want to pay attention to it. They think that they can just ignore it and go away with the COPPA violations, and it's not going to. Ignoring it is not going to make it go away. How many people are here? After anybody left in the chat? In the chat? Do dee da da dee do ni I o I o. Be ba bo be do be do be ba da da ni da ni na.
We can get rid of rapid speed.
You guys want to go do a raid over to view? Anybody here? Nobody here? You guys all lurks? Well, thanks for lurking, you 9 people, you.
Oh, Piju was asking you about the Sylveon spawn.
I guess we won't do a raid. I'll just go and hang out with you.
I went strictly off hours. I'm invested in the game. But it would be art. But
you're here, Jess? Well, thanks, Jess.
Too unpolished to be the. Oh, you're talking about Game of the Year. You're talking about like the Game of the Year. Yeah.
Want to do a raid with me, Jess? Do just a me and you raid?
Yeah, I don't know.
If just me and you are here. Celeste Chapter 9.
Oh God, what is this?
Did I make Failboat choose what game he wanted to stream? Did I somehow influence Failboat's stream? Nobody else is playing Celeste. Boax did yesterday. Maybe Boax did.
That was cool. I mean, I
don't think Failboat is subscribed to this channel, so he couldn't have known. He couldn't have known unless it was
That's awesome. I'm glad you guys enjoy that game. Which, while isn't my thing,
it's not. No, Lucas. Definitely look at the. I've explained it like 5 times, and I feel like people have come in and then left prior to my explanation, and then came back and then asked questions that I had explained, and I've pretty much explained the whole process like 5 or 6 times tonight in total, over and over and over. As different people came in and then asked the same questions that I had just answered. Which I don't mind doing, but definitely I would suggest any question you might have, 100% will be answered right here. Like, go and watch this about COPPA. Watch this for COPPA. That is the most important piece of information. The most accurate information you could have about COPPA.
Browser, right?
Go and check that out. It's about 40 minutes long, and it totally involves everybody. It involves every content creator. Like, I myself was wrong in thinking that it didn't involve as many content creators as it does. Again, and that is what I try to get people to do all the time. I accept when I'm wrong, and I was wrong in a huge way right there. Okay, mind you, I was wrong in a huge way.
Where's Luigi's Mansion 3?
Really, really huge way. And other content creators are wrong too.
I don't know. I'll be a Smash
for other reasons. But
Game of the Year contender?
it's still it's like they're right in that it's a huge problem, but they're wrong about what that problem is. The problem is not what they think it is, and that's the problem. Is that the problem is not what they think it is. And so we, as content creators, we were all wrong. All of us, including me, because of I've seen violations of it in other streams all the time, and they're all everybody's gonna have to do something about it. Anywho, watch that video. Let's go do a raid for anybody who's left to do a raid. I'm gonna watch the House impeachment inquiry, as well as
family game. Wow.
The
it's just all Nintendo games. It's literally just
got
all
cute,
Nintendo
nice.
games.
Right there, that FTC
That's so stupid.
that FTC
Other, like,
that
fresh
FTC
indie games. Here we go.
thing is literally the most
What are any of these games?
is where
Like,
everybody else got their
Untitled
information
Goose
from,
Game, that
essentially.
100% should win.
So if you watched a YouTube video or a YouTube content creator that mentioned something about this,
there we go, guys. Game of the
if
decade,
you
Untitled
you
You wanted my answer?
if you
Outer Wilds is a
if you do
great
the
game.
if you
Player-based
the
player finance.
where am I watching? Oh, I'm watching it
that's
right
so
here
more-
on YouTube. Actually, I'll probably go straight to C-SPAN instead of
Minecraft, you're
using
saying,
YouTube, because
objectively.
C-SPAN
It
has
should be sold at
has the live footage on their webpage as well, and that's probably
Smash
more
is
important.
involved there. That's
Also,
that's the winner.
on C-SPAN, where on the webpage of the government webpage, they have Donald Trump's live tweets on the side of the video, as well as relevant senator tweets that are made by the senators during the impeachment hearing. Anywho, let's go do a raid over to Beautiful. We'll do. I think we did a raid to him yesterday. Do I have somebody else who since we did raid him yesterday? Nah. Maybe not. We haven't raided Phil in a while. I'm debating. I like View though. I think we'll go raid View just because it's a couple of us and View is all the cools. All the cool View. Yeah, let's go do a raid over to Beautiful. So let me grab the link here. Thank you so much for joining. You're gonna watch that? Should be pretty good. Well, it won't necessarily be good, but it will be accurate. It will be informative. And through critical thinking, you will come to your own conclusions. Which is really all I could ask for. Is come to your own, look at all the sources of information objectively and with a clear mind and without hate for either side. I look at information from Trump's administration without hate for him, and then I end up having to go, what? Because it is just outrageous. Anywho, thank you, awesome Jess. There's Lucas. I'm gonna do a me raid in there. Heart you guys so much. I will see you guys here very, very soon. And until I flip and see you guys tomorrow, maybe even later tonight over on YouTube. I mean on Twitch. Maybe I'll do something on Twitch later tonight. But until then, guys, stay freaking amazing. Heart you guys. Stay thinking smart and thinking critically. Until then, stay amazing. And two, da freaking live.